Did you know that the first nativity scene was created by someone on a bold mission that still impacts millions of lives today? And even more, it holds a secret that can transform how you see Christmas. We all seek ways to connect with what truly matters in life, especially during moments of celebration like Christmas. In this video, you'll uncover the surprising story of the first nativity scene, its spiritual message, and how it can transform the meaning of Christmas in your life. Stay with me until the end and you'll leave inspired. To understand who created the first nativity scene and why it became so significant, we need to travel back to the heart of the Middle Ages, specifically to the year 1223. We're in Greccio, a small village nestled in the hills of Italy, surrounded by mountains, dense forests, and an atmosphere so serene it feels untouched by time. It was an era when spiritual life was deeply intertwined with everyday life, but direct access to Scripture was a privilege for only a few. Most people relied on the church to hear and interpret the messages of the Bible. The 13th century was a time of significant transition. On one hand, the Catholic Church exerted strong influence, but it also faced challenges like corruption and a growing disconnect with the people. Many felt that the message of Jesus Christ was getting lost amidst the formalities of religion. In this context, an inspiring figure emerged, Saint Francis of Assisi. Why Greccio? This small village was chosen by Saint Francis for its simplicity and natural beauty. He believed that amidst God's creation, this would be the perfect place to convey a message that deeply touched people's hearts in an unforgettable way. Saint Francis of Assisi was a man of great charisma and profound spirituality. The son of a wealthy merchant, he renounced all his material possessions to live a life of poverty and complete devotion to God. He believed that true Christianity was embodied in Jesus' example of life, especially his simplicity and humility. For Francis, Christmas was a crucial moment to reaffirm this message. He was also a natural communicator. His ability to touch hearts went beyond words. He knew how to transform complex concepts into meaningful, living experiences. This skill would be essential for creating the first nativity scene. The people of Greccio represented the typical medieval community. Humble peasants, hardworking individuals with little access to education. Their lives were hard, marked by long days of labor in the fields and a strong reliance on the church to guide their faith. Saint Francis saw in them a genuine desire to draw closer to God, but he knew he needed something special to awaken that connection. Saint Francis sought permission from Pope Honorius III to hold the first celebration with a nativity scene. This was crucial since, at the time, any innovation in religious traditions required official approval. Francis had a clear purpose, not to create something new but to revive the essence of Christ's birth. The birth of the nativity scene. Saint Francis believed that the birth of Jesus was one of the most important events in human history, but he realized that many people didn't truly understand its significance. He wanted people not just to hear about Christ's birth but to experience it tangibly. This is where the revolutionary idea of recreating the nativity scene was born. With the help of a local friend, Giovanni Velletta, Francis began planning the first nativity scene. He chose a natural cave near the village as the setting. The simplicity of the location was perfect for conveying Jesus' humility. With the community's involvement, he brought in live animals like oxen and donkeys, and used living people to represent Mary, Joseph, and the shepherds. The villagers helped construct a manger filled with straw, to represent the place where Jesus was laid after his birth. Everything was prepared with great care but also with remarkable simplicity, reflecting the values Francis wanted to teach. On December 24, 1223, the small cave in Greccio transformed into a living nativity scene. Francis organized a special mass, celebrated beside the manger. During the service, he preached passionately about Christ's birth, emphasizing his humility and love for humanity. The people in attendance were awestruck. Many reported feeling as though they were witnessing the actual birth of Jesus. The scene was so powerful that it deeply moved everyone present. For a society accustomed to formal and distant ceremonies, This celebration was completely new and transformative. Did you know that, according to accounts, some people experienced mystical visions during the celebration? They described the scene as if the baby Jesus himself were alive in the manger, smiling at them. One fascinating detail is that although Saint Francis started this tradition, he never used carved figures or statues. His intention was for the nativity scene to be as close to reality as possible, so people could truly feel Christ's humanity. After this celebration, the nativity scene quickly became a tradition across Europe. Saint Francis' simple and accessible message had found a powerful way to reach people's hearts. More than just a representation of Christ's birth, the nativity scene became a symbol of spiritual renewal and the importance of humility and love for one another. What about you? What is the most powerful way you found to connect with the true meaning of Christmas? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know. Why did Saint Francis create the first nativity scene? He knew that many already knew the story of Christ's birth, but few truly understood its significance in their lives. Today, centuries later, the same holds true. We're surrounded by Christmas symbols, lights, music, gifts, but do we truly stop to reflect on what Christmas means to us personally? Saint Francis had a clear vision. Christmas should be a celebration of humility, love, and closeness to God. But in our modern world, with all its distractions and pressures, can we still see this? So often we focus more on the appearance of the festivities than the heart of the message. When was the last time you stopped to think about the meaning of Christmas beyond the decorations and gifts? Let's explore together what the nativity scene has to teach us about living a life more connected with God. The nativity scene reminds us that Jesus was born in a manger, a simple place meant for animals. Imagine this. The creator of the universe chose to enter the world not in a palace but in a humble stable. Why? Because Christ's message has always been about humility and service. Today we often seek validation in material things, status, or recognition. But the nativity scene teaches us that true greatness lies in serving and living with humility. Think about how you can apply this in your life. Perhaps by helping someone in need or simply showing gratitude for the simple things you already have. Did you know that Mother Teresa of Calcutta used to say she saw Jesus in every poor person she helped? She believed each of them was like the baby Jesus in the manger, a lesson in humility and love. Saint Francis' nativity scene is proof that God doesn't need grand ceremonies to make his presence known. He is with us in the simple moments, in our routines, and in the small acts of kindness we show one another. We live in a world where we are constantly encouraged to strive for great achievements. But God reminds us that He works in the small things. A silent prayer, a smile for a stranger, or an act of generosity can be a reflection of His presence. For where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them. Matthew 18 verse 20. Saint Francis did not create the nativity scene alone. He involved the people of Greccio, creating a community celebration that profoundly impacted everyone's lives. This shows that faith is strengthened when shared with others. Who are the people you walk with spiritually? Perhaps this is the time to reconnect with your church or your family through practices that strengthen faith, such as praying together or organizing a special moment to share the Christmas message. God gives us a community to support us and grow with us. Who is your spiritual community? How can you invest more in these relationships? In the hurry and worries of modern life, it's easy to lose focus. Often we turn Christmas into a to-do list, buying gifts, planning dinners, decorating the house, and forget the main reason, celebrating the birth of Jesus. Have you noticed that in a nativity scene all the figures point to the baby Jesus? It's a reminder that He should be the center of everything, not just at Christmas but in our lives. If we look at our lives as a nativity scene, is Christ at the center, or is He being overshadowed by other priorities? What Saint Francis did in 1223 was revolutionary. He transformed a story people had heard abstractly into something visual, tangible, and deeply emotional. He knew people needed to seek to truly understand. How can you use your creativity to share the message of Christmas? perhaps by writing a letter, organizing a play in your community, or even posting something meaningful on social media. Imagine if Saint Francis had the tools we have today: videos, social media, photography. He would probably use them all to reach more people. How can you use these resources to spread the love of Christ? The life of Saint Francis is a story of transformation. He began as a wealthy young man, passionate about worldly life, but an encounter with God changed everything. He renounced wealth, embraced poverty, and dedicated his life to serving others. The creation of the nativity scene was just a reflection of that inner transformation. We all face moments when we are called to change. It might not be as dramatic as Saint Francis's story, but God constantly invites us to rethink our priorities, let go of what draws us away from Him, and embrace a life more centered on His will. What area of your life needs transformation? Is there something you feel God is asking you to change? Take this Christmas as an opportunity. Did you know that, according to some accounts, Saint Francis's nativity scene was inspired by his visit to the Holy Land? He was so deeply moved by the places where Jesus was born and lived that he wanted to recreate this experience for the people of Greccio. Now it's your turn to join in. Which of these spiritual lessons from the nativity scene spoke most to your heart? Was it Christ's humility, the power of community, or the centrality of Jesus at Christmas? Write in the comments, share your perspective, and inspire others to live a Christmas more connected to its true meaning. The nativity scene is the greatest symbol of Christ's humility. He, being God, chose to be born in a stable, among animals, to show us that the value of a life is not in where we are born or what we possess, but in the love we carry. How about starting to practice this humility in your life? It could be in small things like admitting a mistake, listening more than speaking, or treating someone with respect, even when it's difficult. Humility isn't about lowering yourself, but about putting yourself in a position where you are willing to serve and learn. Remember, before creating the nativity scene, Saint Francis also had to practice humility. He abandoned a life of luxury to live among the poor, understanding that serving God is far more valuable than accumulating wealth. Did you know that, in the Middle Ages, the simplicity of the nativity scene was revolutionary? It allowed even the poorest and least educated to understand Christ's story. Today we still need that simplicity to see God amidst the world's complexity. The nativity scene is a powerful visual reminder that Christmas is not about gifts, parties, or decorations, but about the birth of Jesus. What if every decision we made this season had Christ as the main focus? During this year's Christmas dinner, dedicate a moment to reflect on the story of Christ's birth. Read Luke 2 verses 1 to 20 with your family and invite everyone to share what this story means to them. Another idea is to choose a symbolic gift to represent the greatest gift of all, Jesus. In many monastic traditions, the act of placing the baby Jesus in the nativity scene is accompanied by a family prayer, symbolizing the centrality of Christ in the home. You could create a similar tradition in your own home. If you enjoy crafts, consider creating a nativity scene and giving it to someone as a gift, explaining the meaning behind the tradition. If you prefer writing, why not share a message about the true meaning of Christmas on social media? The important thing is to use your gifts to convey Christ's message. Did you know that the nativity tradition inspired artists throughout the centuries? Renowned sculptors and painters like Giotto and Bernini created masterpieces based on the nativity. Each one used their art to glorify God and share the gospel. Ask yourself, how can I use my talents and resources to share the Christmas message with someone who needs to hear it? Invite friends, family, or church members to set up a nativity scene together. Use this moment as an opportunity to share testimonies or simply thank God for the year that has passed. You could also organize a group charity project, like collecting food or clothing. In many Italian villages, nativity scenes are set up in public squares, with the entire community participating. This tradition began with Saint Francis and continues to unite people around Christ's message. Now, I want to propose a practical challenge for you. Choose one or more of the actions below and put them into practice this week. Then come back and share your experience in the comments. If you're already doing something, tell us about your project. Do something for someone else without expecting recognition or reward. It could be an anonymous donation, helping a neighbor, or doing something kind for a stranger. Dedicate 15 minutes each day to meditate on the Christmas message. Read Luke 2 and ask God to speak to your heart. Set up a nativity scene with your family or community and use the moment to teach or reflect on the true meaning of Christmas. Organize or participate in a charitable activity, such as collecting food, gifts for children, or assistance for families in need. What began as a simple reenactment in a small Italian village has become a global tradition. This reminds us that even the smallest actions can have unimaginable impacts. Did you know that, in some cultures, nativity figures are handmade and passed down from generation to generation? This care for details reflects how each of us can bring something unique to Christ's message. Now it's your turn. Which of these ideas inspired you the most? Which action do you feel you can put into practice? Write in the comments and share your experience. And if you think this content can inspire others, don't forget to like and comment. Now that we know the story of the first nativity scene, we cannot ignore the profound impact it had and continues to have. Saint Francis of Assisi wanted more than just to create a beautiful celebration. He wanted to transform lives, help people feel God's presence, and center Christ in their hearts. Imagine the scene in Greccio on that Christmas night of 1223. The cold of the Italian mountains, the candlelight reflecting off the walls of the cave, the sound of animals nearby, and at the center of it all, a manger with the baby Jesus. For the people of that time, it was a unique and transformative experience. They left not just moved but with their faith renewed. What Saint Francis did centuries ago still teaches us valuable lessons. The nativity scene calls us back to what is essential: humility, love, simplicity, and the centrality of Christ. It reminds us that God is with us, even in the most ordinary moments and in the most unlikely places. The nativity scene is a bridge between heaven and earth, a visual reminder that God chose to draw near to us. And not in a distant or majestic way, but as a baby, vulnerable, humble, and full of love. Have you ever stopped to think about the profound symbolism of the nativity scene? Every element tells a story. The manger reminds us of Christ's humility. The animals represent God's creation, witnessing the greatest event in history. And the shepherds symbolize that the gospel message is for everyone, especially the humble and forgotten. Just as the people of Greccio faced challenges in their time, hunger, disease, inequality, we too face our own struggles. Maybe your challenge is emotional, spiritual, or even material. But the nativity scene reminds us that God is present in all these situations. He didn't come for those who had it all figured out, but for those who needed Him. If you feel like you're going through a difficult time, remember that the same God who was born in a manger is with you now. He understands your pain, your doubts, and your worries, and He wants to bring peace to your heart. What many people don't realize is that the nativity scene is also a message of future hope. It points to the complete plan of salvation. The baby in the manger would one day become the Savior on the cross. It all begins with an act of humility and culminates in the greatest act of love in history. The nativity scene is a call for you to join Mary, Joseph, and the shepherds around the baby Jesus and ask yourself, what can I offer Him this Christmas? It might not be gold, frankincense, or myrrh, but something more precious, your heart. Now, I want you to stop and think, what is your place in this story? Are you among the shepherds, amazed at what God has done? Are you beside Mary and Joseph, seeking to understand God's plan? Or perhaps you are still on the journey like the wise men searching for Christ? Write in the comments which part of this story touched you the most and why. Today we traveled back to the 13th century to uncover the incredible story of the first nativity scene. We learned about Saint Francis of Assisi's vision, who used the simplicity of a manger to teach profound lessons of humility, love, and faith. More than a historical event, this story challenges us to live with Christ at the center of our lives. We saw that humility transforms, that God is present in small things, that community strengthens our faith, and that with creativity, we can share the message of Jesus with more people. The nativity scene is an eternal inspiration that even in the simplest conditions, God does extraordinary things. Now it's your turn to act. Reread the passage of Jesus' birth in Luke 2, pray, asking God to reveal something new about Christmas, and above all, allow Him to transform your heart. The nativity scene is a reminder that God is always with us, but He also waits for us to draw near to Him. Thank you for watching this far. If this story touched you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell to receive updates on upcoming content. And please share this video with someone special. Together we can spread this powerful message. See you next time.